Hello. This video will show you how to set up a gradebook for a class that is a new class that you are teaching, or perhaps a class that you've taught in recent years, but the categories and weights are changing significantly, so you don't want to just copy it over from the prior year. That may be the case for a lot of us this year, since we are doing online learning. So first thing we want to do is make sure we're on this side of Infinite Campus, the instruction side, not the tools side. You can go to your little man up here, man or woman, and go to your account settings and set that so that you decide whether or not you want to start on campus instruction or campus tools. Probably campus instruction is good because this is the side of the gradebook you work on more. We want to make sure that we are in the correct year and at the correct school in case you're in multiple buildings. And then we want to click on the gradebook and double check one more thing before we do any work. One is to make sure we are in the correct grading period. For probably 90 to 95% of us will be working in Q2 S1 for first semester because the grading period runs the entire first semester and is done at December 17th. If you're a math block teacher, you'll be setting up your first grade book in Q1, which will end its grading period in mid-October. So we're going to be in Q2 S1 because I'm going to set up a course like that. We're going to pick the class that we are setting up because we want to see it happen live. And we want to make sure we are in the semester grading task. All right, as you see, we have just a grade book that doesn't have any place to put in grades. So we need to make some categories and some assignments. So we are going to open the settings tab right here. And we are going to create a few categories. I'm going to add a category to my Legacy 2000 class, and I'm going to call it logs. That's a category of work we do. I also like to parenthetically put what class it is going to, and right there. And let's just say that we decided this is going to be a 40% of the grade, this category. I want it to show up first in my grade book. And there it shows up. I'm going to add another category. This one is going to be speeches. And again, parenthetically put that. And let's say that speeches are 30%, and I want it to show up second. And I'm going to add my final category for Legacy 2000, which is going to be projects. Again, I'm saying that it's going to L2K. That parenthetical thing right there is optional, obviously, but I'll show you why I do that. And you may choose to do it or not to do it. And all right, so I have all three of my categories set up for Legacy 2000 for that class that I'm going to teach. And I can see that they all show up under my category list. I'm now going to go and set up a category called coursework / formative. I'm going to tie that one to my Math 1 sections. And I'm going to put it in all of my Math 1 sections. So my 2 Math 1s first semester and my 2 Math 1s for second semester. All of those this year, I think we decided it was going to be 40% of the grade, and hit save. I'm going to go now and make a category of coursework / formative for my Math Lab class. Oops. Oh, okay, there we go. I need to select those sections, and we haven't done this. Well, maybe we did, but that's 80%. I want to show first. All right, so here's why I put the parentheses in there, because when you ever go back and look at your categories, if you do that, the default will be all. And so for me, I just like to see all of them here and know exactly what class I'm going to. It'll allow me to make two different categories be the exact same name, and they would go to different classes and have different weights perhaps. So I know at a glance which class it is going to. You could also filter it by doing that drop down and seeing those categories that you created there. But again, the default is going to be that all. So that's good enough for now. I obviously need to go back and add some more categories for Math 1 eventually so that my gradebook adds up to 100. But for now, I'm done with categories and I'm going to create some assignments. I can do that two different ways. I can either create assignments through this assignment list function, or just by adding them with this add button right here. And so I'm going to create some assignments in each category. So I'm going to create log number 1, and I need to make an abbreviation for that. That's 5 characters or less. So I'm just going to call it log 1. Assigned on the first day of school and due September 25th. It's a first category, and I want it to show up first within that category. I double check that I'm putting it in the correct category of my gradebook. I obviously want to include it in the calculation. I want to select semester for my grading tasks. And then I'm going to make this a 100-point assignment and save it. So this is something as a school we've decided that you will either do your gradebook with everything in the gradebook being out of 100 points, and then you changing the relative weights of assignments within a category by changing the multiplier. So if I wanted this log to be either more weighty or less weighty than the other things in this category, I could make this be a half-weighted log, or I could make it be a 1.5 weighted log. But again, I'm going to be putting in a score out of 100 and changing the multiplier to change those weights. The other option that you have, if you decide this as a team, would be to have different point assignments. So maybe this is a 70-point quiz or test or whatever. But in that case, you want to always make your multiplier be 1. So if you change your points to alternate point values, you always want to make your multiplier 1. If you have 100 as your consistent point value throughout your gradebook, you can change those multipliers. What we don't want to do is have something like a 40-point assignment that's weighted as a 0.1. It's confusing for exactly how much that counts in the gradebook to parents and that sort of thing. And it's just something we decided on as a school. So I'm going to keep that as a 100-point assignment. Hit save. And now I can easily create another assignment within this category. So if I'm going to make 5 or 6 different logs and they all have the same weight and setup, I can just go copy, and notice I have copy of log 1 here. I'm going to delete the copy of, change it to log 2, change this to 2. I'm going to change my sequencing to 2. And I'm going to update my dates. So this one maybe is assigned in mid to late September and due, that looks like a good due date, 10/20. Notice how it updated my due date when I updated my assigned date as if it was the same number of days as my prior assignment. And I don't have to mess with any of this stuff down here because it all stays the same, and then I hit save. So I don't want to keep copying the same template from assignment to assignment. I can hit new assignment. I'm going to create something called the 90-second speech. I'm going to call that 90-second. I'm going to see that that is assigned on 8/27, due on 8/27, because we're going to do that on the first day of class. And I'm going to make it be the first thing in the gradebook sequence under category 2. I need to change my category to make it go into speeches. And then this is going to be a 100-point assignment with a multiplier of 1. And then finally, I'm going to create a new assignment. And this is going to be the standalone PowerPoint. and I'm going to just call that SAP. This maybe is due, signed in early October and due at the end of October. And it'll be the first assignment in that category. And I want to make sure I put it in group projects. It's going to be a 100-point assignment. All right. So good opportunity for us to point out, remind that we should have as much of this stuff as consistent as possible across a Common Course team. So the way that we name our assignments, the way that we name our categories, obviously the point values and the multipliers and all those sort of things and the due dates should be common across our Common Course teams. So consider maybe before you start setting up your gradebook, coming up with something like this as a team, where this was our categories, the names, the weights for Math 4 for a couple of years ago, where everybody would type these in the exact same way so that, again, parents, teachers, counselors, they see a consistent look to the gradebook from student to student. We also have all of our exact naming of our assignments in here. We want to make sure that these assignments are named in a way that makes sense to us, makes sense to parents, things that aren't vague or will lead to confusion. All right, let's go back to the gradebook and save this guy. And we will notice now that nothing happened. Oh, something happened. Our assignments started showing up here. And so that's good. So our assignments are here. We need to do one last thing, and that is set up our grade calc options. This is the most commonly missed thing that everybody tends to do and think their gradebook isn't working, myself included. I'm going to show you this under a section that I have not practiced with yet, so you can see what it'll look like for you. So when you are in a course and you hit grade calc options, you'll see this screen like this, and you're like, there's nothing to do. Well, you have to hit continue, and it'll take you to the section where you're ready to set up your grade calc options. So you're going to want to go to the semester section. You want to set in progress grade. You want to select the grading scale of Adams 12 standard, A, B, C, D, F, and you definitely want to click weight categories. Notice I had categories that had different weights. We had a 30, a 30, and a 40. If I want that to actually stick, I have to tell it to do that. Then hit save. I'm going to go back and do it for my Legacy 2000 class so you can actually see it showing up in the gradebook. So grade calc options, in progress grade, grading scale, Adams 12 standard, and weight. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to do it for my second semester spreadsheet for that class as well, so I don't have to wonder in January why it's not working. All right, and you'll notice what that has done for us is it's made a whole new section of this gradebook show up in between my assignments and where grades will be posted. So we can see that now with Evan here, if I give him a 90 on the first log and a 100 on the second log, that his logs average for that category is a 95. He has a 95 in the class. If I go to his 90-second speech, and he got a 77 on that, and the standalone PowerPoint, he got a 100 on. We can see that all of our categories fill up. Our overall grade, where we are in progress, is keeping track as well. I will save that and point out a couple more things before we're done. Notice that you get this sparkline graph. That doesn't do much for me, so I'm going to turn that off. I can turn on my save alert if I want, so I'll just do that. And then pass-fail coloring settings, which you can set up all of your settings. I like to see green and red, depending on what sort of assignments go in there. All right, so now we've got Evan in here. We've got what he is getting so far. It's nice if you can lay out as much of this as possible at the beginning of the semester so that parents can see exactly what's coming, so students can see exactly what's coming, the number of assignments that will be in each category with accurate due dates. But I'm going to show you why we need to have an assignment in every category. So even if standalone project and log 2 have not been graded yet. Evan or his parents, when they go to Infinite Campus, I'll show you what they will see. So Evan in my class right now, based on what I had put in there, has an 84.42%. And you will see that under the parent portal, they would see this. Now they will see that I've got 3 categories: logs, speeches, and group projects. They can see the relative weights of each of those categories, and they can see the assignments that have either been graded or will be graded in each of those, so that there's no like, oh my gosh, the final exam didn't even show up as a gradebook category. I didn't even know it was coming until the very end of the semester. So just make sure you have all your categories with at least one assignment holding the place of each of those categories as you do this. And that's all we need to do for this video. I hope this was helpful for you.